What's up everyone? Jen here from Blue Heron Nature Skills. Just coming to you from the coast of California today. I'm going to be teaching an intro to botany today, and this is going to be a very introductory class. We're not even going to talk about the plants that are around us today. But I did want to thank, before we get started, I wanted to thank the Bridgeville Public Library for having me do these short videos because it's just nice to keep in touch with the library. I do a lot of my classes there when I'm back home, and I love to support all of the people, all of you who come to those classes, so I hope a lot of you are watching these videos as I make them as well, so I can still feel like I'm there for you. So thank you, Bridgeville Library. And there are going to be more videos and other information posted on, the Blue Heron website, and also my new Patreon, which is patreon.com/wildblueheron. There's going to be lots of new classes going up. I've got videos up there already on some other topics, and so you can find stuff there. But in the meantime, we are here in California, and we're going to do a very introductory botany class. So I've created a little bit of a follow-along list here for us. And we're going to just talk about what botany is, why it's important, some beginner's resources, and a little bit about plant names and classification. So, without further ado, what is botany? I describe it as very generally the study of plants, and then very slightly less generally, I often refer to it as the anatomy of plants, because you really cover, the flowering parts, the leaves, the stems, the roots, the rhizomes. You really cover everything, that makes a plant a plant. And so anatomy of plants is my other sort of brief definition of it. And why is it important to study botany? There's so many reasons, and it varies per person. I would say first and foremost, a great reason for studying botany is for environmental purposes. To know what plants are around us, we can help to figure out things about other clues about our environment. So if things are, if plants are dying, or if they're showing up with diseases or other issues, then we know that there's something wrong. We also, if we can find a rare species, we can potentially save that land from being built. If we know that there's something that's endangered or, otherwise struggling to survive. So some people study botany for environmental reasons like that. I personally end up using it mostly for medicine and for foraging. So for food and for medicine, it's very important to know which plants you're looking at, and that you don't have a look-alike, that you don't have, anything toxic going into your medicine or into your salad or your other food. So I use it a lot for foraging and medicine, but really there's infinite amounts of reasons to study botany. And some resources for getting started. Briefly here, I'll show you what I use, what I like to use, and I guess a lot of people use different things, but this is a book, Botany in a Day by Thomas J. Elpel, who's also an amazing person. You can Google his name and find some other amazing books he's written, but this is really excellent for botany. And just to make sure to get the most recent edition, this is the 6th edition. To my knowledge, that's the most recent edition. I haven't seen a 7th one yet, so I think this is where we're still at. But of course, botany changes daily. People reclassify plants all the time, so it's always important to try to keep up to date with that as best as possible. And just right in the cover, before you even get into the papers, he's already got the quick guide to flower terms, terminology there. And it is sort of a lie. You're not going to learn all of this in a day, so I always say to people, don't be impatient with yourself. It's really just botany every day. So you can kind of see as I flip through the general, list of, how he does things, the organization. He's got different families of plants, their botanical names, pictures of them, characteristics of the plants. And then in the very beginning, too, there's just even basic information about the names and classification, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But there's the evolution of plants. There's just all kinds of, how plants started out on the planet, and, different theories people have, and different proven things that we've found. things about flowering plants, non-flowering plants, the kingdoms of the plants. So just so much information to be had in this book, and it's a lot of fun to read, and his writing style is really enjoyable to follow along with. So Botany in a Day, a fabulous resource for new beginners of botany. My secondary resource is the Audubon Field Guides. This one, of course, is the Eastern one, so you all could benefit from this. It's not doing me much good out here in California, but you all could benefit from it. And what I love about it is it also dives right into botany of plants. As you can see, flipped right into parts of a flower, different types of flowers. Everything, you know, is basically right there. And then the other thing that I love about this book is the color photos, too. Very, you know, crystal clear, very sharp. Hopefully the focus of my phone is doing that justice. They're very sharp, very clear pictures of plants. And then my last favorite part, and possibly my most favorite part, is the back, which gives you all of the text, all of the botany of the plants. So it gives you, you know, dwarf ginseng, Panax trifolium. It gives you the botanical names, the family that the plant is in. You can kind of see right here, there's a ginseng family. That's where you'll find dwarf ginseng. And then it gives you a description, and it talks about the leaves, the flowers, the fruit, the height, the time frame that you'll find it flowering from, the habitat, moist woods, damp clearings, the range. You'll find it from Quebec all the way to Minnesota and Georgia, and then comments too. So you'll get, you know, different things about, like this one, it has a distinctive tuber that can be eaten raw or boiled. So just really great information in these Audubon Field Guides. So I always highly recommend them for newcomers to the field of botany. And what else did I have here? I love this card deck, and it's kind of supposed to be like a card game. Put it in the pineapple weed here. This is in the chamomile family. Just a quick little, I can never help myself. But these cards are wonderful because it just really gives super clear, very short and sweet information about the different families of plants, and then it also provides color photos of the plants as well. So it's handy, it's small, it's little. If you're trying to study, it's like flashcards. You can study from it that way. It describes different things about plants. And I don't know if I showed you, sorry if I didn't show you the name of it, Shanleia's Quest, which is also a book and potentially even a game. So yeah, I really just use these for reference, but it has multiple purposes. So Shanleia's Quest is good. One last resource that I'd love to mention that you should not really try to do botany without is our friend who's buried in the grass over here, the loop. So this is a jeweler's loop, and it's really just a hand lens that helps you to see close up the close-up parts of plants. So it's really, really helpful. It's very small, so you can fit it pretty much anywhere in your backpack or in a pocket. It has, the loop has a loop to make it into a necklace, like up here. But mine kept falling off of the necklace, and I didn't want to lose this little thing, so I just carry it with me now. The one that I have here has a light on the bottom, which is really nice. I didn't think I needed it. I was angry when I realized I ordered it because it was like a couple extra dollars. Not a big deal, but I'm a frugal person, so I found that the light is actually really necessary, and at this point I would not recommend one without a light. You'd be surprised how often it comes in handy. So a loop with a light is super duper helpful. So just to finish up, just to close with here, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the plant names and their classification. So I created a page for us to look at that as well. You can look at this glorious white clover while I flip through. Okay, so here we go. I used echinacea as an example of plant names, just so you could sort of follow along, hopefully as easily as possible here. So we have the common name, which is echinacea, and that can be broken into its scientific name. Now, I listed 2 different species of echinacea to show you different things about it. So we have Echinacea purpurea, and you can see that the echinacea is capitalized, so the first name is capitalized, the second name is in lowercase, and this is across the board. This is how plants are classified. So this is called a binomial nomenclature. That's the fancy name of it. I should have written that down of all things, but fortunately you don't need to know that. And in fact, you don't even need to memorize these scientific names of plants, because they're not gonna do much benefit unless you're using the plant, you know, for some reason. If you're studying the plant, you'll want to know, you know, I kind of consider the names to be almost like a tool. So when I make medicine, I use the names. When I eat the plants as food, I want to know their names. So I use them kind of in a way like a tool. So you don't need to memorize them all, and it's very difficult to memorize them all. And people sometimes get deterred from that. Oh, here, I just want to show you, these folks are coming through on their horses real quick. It's super sweet to see that. So I am still here, yes. Having fun with the plants. So they saw me earlier, of course, and I got to talk to them about their horses, which was really nice. But sorry for the distraction, but I think it's a welcome distraction because they're so gorgeous. But so yeah, I just have the names broken down into their genus and their species. So if we look at the names of plants like our own names, you know, Jen would be the genus and Dalke would be the species. The species of Dalke. It's a funny thought, but it really might help you to sort of figure out, you know, how to use these names a little bit. So the genus is, if we're using my name or even Echinacea as an example, like there's so many different Jens in the world, but there's hopefully only one Jen Dalke, and Facebook has shown me otherwise. There are other Jen Dalkes in the world, but you get the drift, hopefully. So with Echinacea, with that as an example, it's really important to know the difference between the Purpurea and the Angustifolia, because a lot of herbalists like to use the different plant parts. People will often use the root of Angustifolia, where they'll use the aerial parts, the flowers of Purpurea. So that's just one example of why you'd want to know the species of Echinacea. And another reason I sort of drew this up and wrote this for you is so you could see you can abbreviate. So here I could have put Echinacea angustifolia. It's a mouthful. It's a lot to write. It's a lot to say. So we can abbreviate and just use the first letter of the genus, you know, with a period, and then the rest of the species name. So that can kind of help. And then one last thing I just wanted to mention is that the Echinacea species plural, we can use this abbreviation of SPP if we don't know which species we're looking at. Like you might look at a coneflower and say that's definitely, you know, going to be an Echinacea, but I don't know which species. And if you're trying to track these or log them in some way, then you can make a note. And when you see species plural, then maybe you know, like a note to self, to look it up and figure out which species it is. So really that just means plural species. So you have like an array of other species that it could potentially be, and you need to narrow it down. So that is one other abbreviation that you can use, and that I'm going to leave off right there. And we will pick this up again, and we will, in the next video, I think I'm going to talk about flower parts and the parts of the flowers of plants. So hopefully you'll be back for more, and hopefully you're enjoying your day, and I will talk at you later. All right. Thank you. Bye.